Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Eagle's Eye right here on AUTV 20. I'm your host, Evan Laux, and today I have the pleasure of sitting down with Ashland University's Director of Athletics, Al King. Thanks for being here today, Al.
Always good to see you.
Now, I want to jump right in and ask, you've been Director of Athletics here since 2015, and you've been working in the sports department for 28 years now. What sort of unique challenges have you had to deal with in your position this year?
Well, this is certainly the biggest. Always before, they would all be centered on athletics. I mean, athletic things, can we get this game in? Are we hiring a coach? What are we going to have to do with this? Where are our recruiting numbers? This has been different from the fact that, like athletic directors around the country, you're talking a lot of things that we haven't had experience in the past, medical terms, protocols, all those things like that. So for all of us, it's been a change where we've had to learn a lot, still learning a lot, and the situation changes so much. I think it's been emphasized to us again, we have to be extremely flexible. So this has been the biggest challenge that I've seen, and guys and who have been in this a lot longer than I have said the same thing.
Right. Now, athletics are undoubtedly a major part of AU's culture and Ashland itself. How have you seen the loss of these athletic seasons kind of impact our campus and community as a whole?
See it every day. If you go to the store, I went to vote, and I think I got asked 3 times, and we're going to be able to go see the basketball teams play. I get asked those things a lot of times. I get asked, are you going to be able to play? Can you get started on time? There's a sense of loss in the community because we are a small town, and so many people get used to following our teams, following our athletes. Even if they aren't always coming to the game, they're reading about them, they're listening to them on the radio. So from that community standpoint, there's a huge sense of loss there, and I think just a loss of normalcy. On campus and with the student athletes, it's a lot more keen. You keep saying the student athletes, we think we're going to play, we think we're going to do this, but I know what they want and I know what coaches want. They want certainty, and I haven't been able to give certainty for a long time. As one of my colleagues said, he had a staff meeting, all he kept saying was, I don't know, I don't know. He said, after a while, he said, I felt, I should sit down. But unfortunately, that's the climate we're in now. We don't know a lot, but student athletes are looking for something that's a positive. Coaches are. Anything that can get them back to what they're used to. That's what we're trying to do, is to give that little bit, and you walk that line between can you do it and be safe. And that's the question every day.
Right. The word I keep hearing circulating around is uncertainty. That's the thing a lot of people use. So the athletes themselves, how has morale kind of been up to this point? How are they keeping up with their classwork, their lives? I mean, athletics is a big part of their lives.
I think it goes in stages. I think, from what I can tell, when they came back, there's the great unknown. They didn't know what was going on, and we weren't practicing for a little bit. And then when we were practicing, we were in what we call pods, where you'd have maybe 5, 7, 8 there at a time. And we slowly progressed to where we could go to full, scrimmages and that sort of thing. But then by the minute you get that, then you start getting what, as they'd say, hit the pause button. The team gets somebody that tests positive, and so then you're off for 10 or 14 days. So their emotions have been jerked around. For a while, they did pretty well. And it kind of comes and goes, depending on what's taking place. I know I talked like soccer teams, and they said, well, we're back scrimmaging now. That's a positive. Baseball got back. Things like that. But it comes and goes. The piece that's harder for me to judge is when I look even just outside of athletics. It's classwork. I try to put myself back, when I went to school in the dark ages, how would I deal with this if I didn't have face-to-face class? And I'm certain it had been a huge challenge for me. But I do feel for them because I see it. I see them. I tell you what I really see now, and what athletic directors in our conference have talked about a lot more, is the toll on mental health. I'm seeing more anxiety, depression, those types of things. Just wondering, when is it ever going to come back to what I'm used to?
Mm-hmm. We have gotten some good news recently. The GMAC announced that there will be some winter and spring sports play. Could you tell us a little about what that's going to look like and what a schedule may look like?
Yeah, we're going to try. People keep asking again, can you play? We're going to try. We're going to take the fall sports, and they're going to go into the spring. Those fall sports will not have an NCAA championship, so they're playing for a GLIAC championship. So volleyball is going to start around February 19th. The two soccers, March 7th and March 19th, and they'll play for GLIAC championships. I think volleyball, we're probably looking at about a 14 or 16 game schedule. That's what we're going to schedule. And then the soccer's like 9, 7 games, and then with a tournament. Football can go up to 5 games. Well, basically what it is, it's 5 outside competitions, so that could be a controlled scrimmage, it could be a game, it could be something in between, but you can go as many as 5. They're not playing a true GLIAC schedule where they're just playing GLIAC teams. It's whoever they want to schedule. Basketball is the one that's gotten the most probably attention. We're going to play a basketball schedule of a conference schedule of 18 games. And that's going to start January 8th. That's what we have scheduled there. Teams can schedule in basketball and non-league games in December, and also starting in December, track and field, swimming, and wrestling can get going. I will tell you with wrestling, we probably have a ways to go. That's probably not coming until January. We'd be ready to go. But we'll look at the ones like swimming, diving, and track and field. Can we do those? Again, Evan, it's a case of we're trying. We don't know what the future is going to bring. Are we going to get 18 games in? You can see what's happening in Division I football right now. Wisconsin lost their last 2 games, had to be canceled. Ohio State, Maryland canceled. We're going to try, but we also realize it's going to be a season unlike anything that we've seen. But we're going to try. And then the spring sports would be up and going as normal. We haven't done anything with the spring sports. So golf, tennis, baseball, softball, they're on go with the normal schedules.
Okay. And now there's a lot of changes changes across the board everywhere. One we haven't talked about yet that I think we should talk about, Ashland is moving out of the GLIAC conference into the GMAC. What's the significance of that for the next athletic year?
I think that a couple things with it. The first is for our fan base, a lot more games closer. With us coming in and going in the GMAC, you're going to have 8 schools in Ohio, so it's going to be easier for our fan base to go see games. That's going to help a lot that way. I think the rivalries. I've talked a lot about rivalries that may be coming up. You know, we're going to get back with a Hillsdale, a Findlay, Ohio Dominican, schools like that. Walsh is one that we've built over the last couple years. I think all those are going to come back. So I think that's significant too. And for all of our kids, play different teams, play for a championship. We're looking at all those types of things. A fan base is energized by it a little bit. But when I say that too, Evan, I want to say this. We were in the GLIAC for over 25 years, and that was a great relationship for us. It helped us as far as building our athletic programs. But now it's time to go into a new era, and we're excited about this to see what we can do. I'm actually on GMAC calls every week, so I've had a chance to be in and hear what they're doing, give some input about what the next couple of years will look like.
Now talk about wrestling. We've heard that wrestling has already entered the GMAC.
They have, as an associate member. The GMAC reached out to us and said, the GLIAC does not have a championship in wrestling. Would you be interested in coming in and competing this year in the conference tournament? So what that means is we'll still wrestle the normal schedule we would, which means we'll wrestle some people from this region, some people from outside the region. So there's not a GMAC wrestling schedule per se, but what we do have a chance to do is to go to Kentucky Wesleyan in late January and compete in the GMAC championships. And that's going to be neat for us. Our kids are going to get a chance to compete for a championship. And, you know, right now, that's big. That's something that they can hang their hat on, get in shape, and do that. So that's going to be an exciting time for it. We know a lot of those schools. A lot of those schools we've wrestled over the years, but anytime you get a chance to go for a championship, it'll be fun.
Right. Now, to tie things up here, I want to refer back to something you said in March addressing the beginning of this whole COVID situation and athletic cancellations. You said, times like these, they reveal character, and in addition to size, speed, and strength, we have plenty of character. Tell us what you meant by that.
It's going to be a challenge, and you know, the one thing, again, we talk to our kids all the time about how are you going to be when things don't go the way that you think they should, or you lose, or those types of things. You have an injury and you got to rehab and come back. And this is obviously bigger than a lot of those things because we haven't had this before, but this is when you really find out what kind of mettle somebody has, how they persevere, all those types of things. What I probably need to do more of, I was talking to somebody yesterday about this, and they said, you're going to get through it. They said, trust me, the summer's going to come, you're going to get through it. It may not be on the schedule that you want when you're going to be back up full go, but you're going to get through it. And I need to probably do more of emphasizing that. But our student athletes and our coaches have done a nice job. Have there been days when it's been hard and they maybe said some things they shouldn't have or something like that? I'm sure they have, but that's going around the country. But our kids have been resilient. They've hung in there. They've tried to do what we've asked them to do. They've been careful with masking, with social distancing. Again, if I put myself in this situation at 19, 20 years old, I wonder how I would have done with it. So I'm impressed by them. I really am. I didn't give them enough credit. They've done better than what I thought they would. So when I made that statement, I didn't know how this would go. Well, I know now that they've done better in a lot of ways. But this is as big a test as these guys and girls are going to get in a long time, because it's every single day, 24 hours, trying to take care of everything you have with schoolwork and that sort of thing, and still be able to get ready to play. And that's a huge challenge. And to keep mentally sharp and mentally so, you can do this. And so I give them a lot of credit, because it's been a long time, a long, long time since anybody's faced a challenge like this.
Mm-hmm. Well, Mr. King, thank you so much again for sitting down with us today. Like we talked about earlier, athletics are a huge part of who we are here on campus, and I think it's important that our community is up to date with everything so that they can get right back to cheering on our different Eagle teams when the time comes.
I'd like to think so. Thanks for having me come on, because it's always good if you can spread the message. But to everybody, we're just going to keep going forward as best we can. We're going to celebrate anything that we can that's a positive.
Mm-hmm. That's it for this edition of the Eagle's Eye. Once again, I'm your host, Evan Laux, telling you to follow us across social media at AUTV20. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time on the Eagle's Eye.